The Ekurhuleni Metro Council is now expected to consider a motion to suspend the Deputy Chief of Ekurhuleni Metro Police, Julius Mkhwanazi. Now, this over alleged links to businessman Vusimuzi Matlla. Mkhwanazi is accused of registering Matlalla's vehicles as official municipal vehicles and fitting them with blue lights in 2003. He has denied the allegations. Now, the Ekurhuleni City Council is expected to sit to consider and decide on Mkhwanazi's matter this afternoon. That's the acting chief at EMPD. Well, helping us to unpack the Madlanga Commission as well as other developments is Dr Mpho Matlala, senior lecturer at the Department of Police Practice at UNISA. Doctor, thank you so much for your time, and good afternoon to you. So let's start with the developments in the commission itself. Day 6, General Van Rooyen was clear, that the police minister had no authority to disband the PKTT, as that was strictly an operational matter. How significant is this legal distinction for understanding where essentially accountability should lie between the minister and the national commissioner in this case?
Afternoon, Unati. Indeed, I concur with General Van Rooyen that there is overreach on the side of the minister, because if you look at Section 206, it really spells out what the political principalship should be doing, or what are the jurisdictional limits in terms of what the minister can or cannot do, and this includes leading alignment with policy imperatives such as your national directives, your NDP, looking into resourcing the police and the budgeting aspects. But in terms of the operationalization or the operations environment, that is the domain of General Matlla. So I think it's important to draw a clear distinction between the political principalship and the operational environment in as far as law enforcement or policing goes. It cannot be that the minister oversees policy and then gives a directive that is of an operation that has operational implications. If at all the minister gives directives, it should be left at the policy level, and all operations should be left to General Fani Masemola.
Yeah, and I want to speak more about that decision of the disbandment. I mean, from a policing perspective, what risks then are created when politically sensitive task teams are disbanded in ways that may undermine ongoing investigations into organized crime and political killings, essentially? I mean, just yesterday, 8 years after the murder of the Richmond municipal manager, Sibusiso Sithole, the hitman in that case, Sabelo Pewa, was sentenced to life imprisonment in KwaZulu-Natal's division of the High Court in Durban for his murder.
Indeed, the risks are great, Unati. The first ever risk is that criminal elements within the political cycles will continue to run rampage, eliminating political opponents unabated. And the criminal underworld will most definitely continue to infiltrate the entire criminal justice system, as we have heard from the testimony of General Mkhwanazi and that of General Masemola. What then means is that we will be in a state of chaos, in a state where national security is compromised. We are running the risk of running into uncontrollable crime, because this will have rendered law enforcement dysfunctional, much like the havoc that has been wreaked by the drug cartels in Mexico and the gangs in Haiti. So the risks are really, really high. And if law enforcement is to go into a state of disarray, the very foundations of our democracy will be threatened. And when you threaten democracy, you are fundamentally also threatening an entire list of the Sustainable Development Goals. Let me give an example. Peace and security is SDG number 16, but other sustainable development goals talk to quality education, food security, health, and so forth. What good is all of that when our own personal security is actually threatened, when national security is threatened? And you get to a point where national security, even the government, can collapse if these issues are not arrested.
With the new developments that we've also just spoke about in this introduction of this interview, linking EMPD officials to Vusimuzi cat Matlla, including claims of registering his cars as municipal vehicles with the blue lights, how does this reinforce that picture of systemic infiltration of law enforcement by criminal networks or cartels, as some have referenced to them, across multiple policing structures?
Unathi, the allegations are quite disturbing, and I truly hope that Cat Matlla will be called in to give, and also the EMPD chief will come in to tell us what was the context of that, what were the agreements, so that the commission is able to come to a determination whether this was not in the normal course of the leasing of specific cars, or whether this was done for the personal benefit of the personal use of the vehicles by Mr. Matlla. But be that as it may, it is quite disturbing to actually think that a person at such a high level within the EMPD can have such allegations surrounding them.
Yeah. Well, we're going to wait and see what the Ekurhuleni City Council is then going to pronounce, because they are expected to sit today, this afternoon, to consider that, including, of course, the EMPD chief, Julius Mkhwanazi, if indeed he should be on a special leave. But we'll continue to update our viewers on that. But as we continue, just Dr. Matlala, I want to go back very quickly to the testimony by National Commissioner Masimula. He accuses, of course, Minister Mkhunu of shielding alleged criminal cartels, as we've said, but also admits on the other end that the police minister raised concerns about the 50 million rand Matlla-linked contract. How do you then interpret this particular statement in terms of its contradiction? I mean, does it weaken Masimula's case in any way, or does it highlight just how blurred some of the lines of influence and perhaps even corruption have become within SABC?
Indeed, there are contradictions there, because then it would appear that the minister flagged the contract of Mr. Matlla and alerted the National Commissioner, and then that contract was subsequently cancelled. But General Masimula is right about one thing, about the overreach of the minister. Whilst one school of thought might say, no, but then the minister may not be linked to Cat Matlla. If he was linked, why would he then cancel the contract, or cause the contract of Cat Matlla with the SAPS to be cancelled? But remember, we are dealing with politicians here. There could be emerging themes out of all of this in terms of who is funding who within the political space, or who failed or who refused to fund who. We don't know. We are waiting for the minister to actually come and explain his side of the story. Yeah. But what I want to highlight is that in terms of the manner in which General Masimula dealt with the issue, I'm not really convinced whether that can be termed to be good leadership, because I don't see General Masimula having called his management team around the PKTT decision by the minister. I don't see him having called his management team and his legal department from General Van Rooyen and say, General, what is your legal opinion on this. And on the basis of that legal opinion, then give the response to the minister, instead of saying a decision by the minister is unlawful, but then continuing to implement the very same unlawful decision. The lines are really, really blurred, and perhaps we will begin to unpack. So we will begin to see clearer pictures as evidence is adduced. Is more testimony is yet to come with more witnesses, but there are many underlying nuances around this issue.
All right, Dr. Mpho Matlala, thank you so much for your views. Dr. Matlla is a senior lecturer at the Department of Police Practice with UNISA.